Now let's talk about string sonatas.
Yeah.
So we think of Haydn with the string quartet, and it starts with him. But he had a Neapolitan teacher. He had Nicola Porpora.
Yeah.
And but you can tell me, you're a string player and you've done the digging. So what was the string sonata like in Naples in the 18th century?
Right. It was a very lively scene in Naples for string players. Um, First of all, there was a strong connection between Naples and Rome, and I like to relate very often this anecdote that is um, related and included in Charles Barney's History of Music. And it has to do with Corelli and Corelli's visit in Naples in 1702, in the early years of the century. And Burney tells, I mean, he relate a story, an anecdote that he had listened from the violinist, famous violinist Francesco Geminiani, and we'll come back to Geminiani in a moment. So he says that there were these great celebrations because the king of Spain was visiting the city. So they wanted to organize celebrations and put together an opera by Scarlatti. And they decided to invite the best violinist in Europe at the time, the divine Arcangelo Corelli. So Corelli was very reluctant, and then he decided to accept the invitation. He came to Naples with his companion, professional and companion in life, Matteo Fornari, his second violin. They arrived in Naples because he was a little bit dubious about the fact that he could play with Neapolitan string players. And the anecdote goes that he was playing this opera by Scarlatti, and all of a sudden he came to a passage that he was not able to play. He did a mistake. And so Scarlatti stopped the rehearsal and said, "Okay, let's go back. Let's start again." And the second time, Corelli again made a mistake on that passage, but he was surprised that the first violin of the orchestra, the Neapolitan orchestra, Petrillo, was able to play this passage without any problem, with a lot of agility
Mm.
um, and talent. And he turns toward Matteo Fornari, his second violin, and says, "Oh, si suona a Napoli. They play in Naples." Now, this is, of course, an anecdote. We don't know if it's true, it's not true. It seems really many of the Corelli's biographers have said it's
Mm.
impossible that Corelli could make mistakes of this kind. But it's interesting, the anecdotes, because first of all, there are several elements that are true. I mean, I
Mm.
um, found that the date corresponds perfectly with the visit of the king. Corelli was indeed invited in Naples. We have documents that say that he was. They were waiting for his arrival in Naples. He
Mm.
he played in a Scarlatti's opera. So all these elements are fine. And then all of a sudden, I was curious at the beginning to find out who was this Petrillo that is named there,
Mm.
first violin of the orchestra. And I found out that it was, in fact, Pietro Marchitelli, the name of the first violin. Pietro Marchitelli, Petrillo, sometimes called, because
Mhm.
he started very young. And so all the elements of this story really uh, are real, are
Mm.
true. Uh, what is interesting is not if Corelli did or not a mistake, if Petrillo was better than Corelli,
Mm.
but what I found interesting is the fact that This demonstrates the fact that in Naples there was a very strong string tradition. And uh, I said this episode, this anecdote was related to Barney by Geminiani,
Mm.
and all the biographers of Geminiani tell us that he spent some time in Naples. But this was also, common knowledge without any evidence. Why, when I started uh, digging into the archive, I was lucky enough to find actually the first document that proves the fact that Geminiani spent some time, probably a year or several years in Naples, very early in his career. He was 20 only in 1707 as first violin of an orchestra, not the Royal Chapel, but another orchestra in a theater. So he was in Naples. He actually had left his hometown to find a job in Naples, and we are talking about one of the greatest virtuosi of the
Mm.
time working in Naples. Something that nobody had found evidence of before. So it seems that very clear, right, that Naples was
Yeah.
a hotspot of a hub of virtuosi string players at the time already.